The highly anticipated Moon administration's policy roadmap was finally unveiled. Over the week, we will closely examine the 5 main policy objectives contained within that blueprint. Kicking things off for this series is our Kim Min-ji, who joins us in the studio today. Min-ji, thanks for making time for us today.
Hi, Daniel.
Well, first of all, the government, where the people are in charge, President Moon Jae-in vowed to seek the changes demanded by the public.
That's right. And one of the core pillars of this policy goal is to return the government to the people and empower them. So whereby Koreans are not the subject of rule, but the owners of the government. Take a listen.
새 정부는 촛불혁명의 정신을 이을 것입니다. 국민이 주인으로 대접받는 국민의 나라. 모든 특권과 반칙, 불공정을 일소하고 차별과 격차를 해소하는 정의로운 대한민국을 만들겠습니다.
Right, the devil's in the detail and the delivery, so let's just dive right into how the government plans to achieve this.
Well, the administration has drawn up 15 initiatives, and these will be carried out through 4 key themes, which includes establishing a democracy that reflects sovereignty of the people, as well as pursuing integration through enhanced communication. Now, first and foremost is rooting out deeply embedded societal ills. The administration plans to create a task force within each ministry that will keep close eye on possible signs of corruption and boost preventive measures, such as stepping up penalties for offenders. Now, another focal part is to make the president more accessible. This calls for the relocation of the presidential office to near Seoul's central Gwanghwamun Square as part of efforts to enhance communication with the people as well as government officials. The government also plans to make public daily schedules of the president and senior officials.
So far, Moon Jae-in seems to be governing the way he campaigned, and even before he took office, it's straight to say he wants to just sit down with the people, have a cup of tea or two, and talk things over.
That's right. In general, polls showed that people were very fond of this unprecedented approach by the president, but we also must note that the president was elected with just 41% of votes, meaning he still needs to win support from the majority.
Compared to the previous administration, it seems like President Moon is taking into account what the people want by stressing the need for communication. But I still want to wait and see if I can really trust him.
Although the president is a liberal leader, he needs to be able to listen to all sides. He can't stress communication for the sake of communication. Also, if he sets such goals or pledges, which of course are good, will he be able to fulfill them all?
Well, the Korean public has been burned before, and they are remaining somewhat skeptical. Another long-pending agenda, Min-ji, has been the reforming of the so-called power organs.
That's right. That's namely the prosecution and police. The prosecution has long been criticized for abusing its power by having both investigative and indictment rights. The government is seeking to reorganize the investigative rights between the prosecution and police. And also to ensure a transparent and competent government, officials will get citizens directly involved in policy formulation and the implementation process. The government also plans to boost human rights protection, root out surveillance of civilians, and strengthen protection of personal data.
Going on now to make sure we have a full democracy in South Korea where the people are in charge, the people's government. But of course, drastic shift means there will be some bumps, bruises, and visible downsides along the way.
You're absolutely right. Experts have stressed that because the change in administration came through candlelight protest, the government is tasked with an important job of fostering peace and stability.
The public can become dissatisfied or disappointed any time, so it is even more important for the government to get things right and run their affairs. But in order to do that, another part of the government needs to put more focus on personnel issues. President Moon needs to be able to put the right expert in the right place.
On top of that, to create a truly people-owned government, the president needs to pay attention to what people really want, and this needs to be reflected so that people feel it and support the president.
Well, Team Moon Jae-in certainly has a lot on their plate. We'll keep our fingers crossed that they're able to execute and deliver on their promises. Thank you so much for coming in today, Min-ji.
My pleasure.